Hello, 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 everyone. What a day in Tesla. Oh, see, I still got tie. It's a tie-dye Friday, but I gotta wear my sweat jacket because it's Chicago and it's cold. But you can see tie-dye Friday. So, how's everyone doing? Oliver says, "Well, his selling didn't not do that." So and Jake, rough day for equities and crypto. It was a sell day. It was a sell day. Not completely surprising, but and we don't know if this was. I mean, we had broad market selling. We had tremendous selling until the very end of the day in Nasdaq and Dow but Dow held up until midday, and then Dow started selling off, and the S&P was down, and let me just jump to that real quick. Just want to show you. I know this isn't the market overview, which will be Sunday, but here's the S&P. Where's all my lines? And look at this. We had a cluster right here, a significant level, and the trend line coming down there. You want to see this, the end of day, and I don't have the trend line on here, but that's that cluster you were looking at. That was the key cluster right there, and where the trend line was, and then, a lot of people were going short, and there's a week of all shorts, so lots of covering into the close. But that was a thing of beauty, right? Little bounce off that harmonic, significant level and trend line into the close, but all day breaking down below levels. I know this isn't that kind of stream right now. Oh, by the way, crypto. Let me just touch on something. This is somebody mentioned crypto. Uh, the double top from Bitcoin, which triggered back on the 18th of November, just hit the first target today. So just keep that in mind too. There are still two targets downwards to go in the declining rotation zone. No, this isn't a crypto stream, but just want to touch on a couple things with key levels that we identify. Back to Tesla. By the way, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, hitting a thumbs up, and ringing the bell. Ringing the bell, most important. The live stream was a couple minutes delayed. Uh, I was getting a furnace tune-up, and they showed up like a few minutes ago. So they called me, and I put in the Discord. We might be a couple minutes delayed in starting because I had the furnace tune-up because it's Chicago and it gets cold, and the last thing you want is your furnace to break like in the end of December or January, and then with 5 dogs you freeze to death. And there's nowhere I can easily go with 5 dogs. If you can name a hotel that will take 5 dogs in a room, then let me know. uh, hey, Dave. Getting close to confirming that double top on, yeah, the weekly double top. So let's just take a look without a bunch of indicators. We'll just leave the moving averages up there. So almost lower close than back on the November 15th, coming down, hitting the 50-period exponential for the first time. Wow. First time since it was in contact with it. Last time it was in contact was really about 20th of August. So first time it's in nice little bounce. It's one of the reasons I watched this. Also, the 1,000 was right there, but I watched for these confluence things. Uh, right now, this barely holding on to bullish mode. I mean, we were neutral mode yesterday, and I said I was slightly bearish, and then with today's price action, I mean, technically, it's still in neutral by a hair. By a hair. Weekly, before we get to all the minor levels, closing in the weekly rotation zone. Why is that important? Because with all the testing we've done over thousands of names and stocks and FX and crypto and everything, when things close in the weekly rotation zone, they tend to test the lower boundaries of the weekly rotation zone, and we still have this gap back from October. That doesn't mean you can't have rallies, and in Tesla, it does not mean you can't have rip your face off rallies. What it means is it still favors, and this doesn't have to happen in 1 week. This could take, who knows? It could happen in 1 week. It could happen next week. It could take to the end of the year. It could happen sometime in January. It could get another bounce and roll over. But this, even with this up here, this is still a potential double top, as Jake said, and we'd need a close below this low of 978.60. Write that number down, and it'd be a technically weekly close. But if it started closing below there on the daily, that's really not good. Why? Because this is now a triple bottom, and triple bottoms slightly favor a continuation pattern, especially on longer term charts. Okay, now it can always hold here, bounce, and then come back down. But you start getting a close below this area right in here, not looking good. And what can happen also, just from a macro perspective, is there can be a lot of selling pressure once this level is broken. There are too many people that have been, oh, the bottom's in, it's going to 1200, it's going in, and we had the levels up there. It hit the first and second level on this double bottom, and then moving up stops, and then it came back down, avoiding the pattern. So that's why one of my key advice is learn to use targets, because at targets you can take profits, raise stops, or both. And you're not trying to call a high or a low. That way you ride it, you take stuff off, and if it rolls over, you fine. You take, you either get stopped out at break even, you get stopped out for a profit, or you get stopped out for a very small loss. And after you take first profits, you should never get stopped out for anything really but break even or profits. So there are too many people though. When every day, I average down on this move. I average down. Now they're averaging down today, and no, it won't go below 1,000. It won't go below 1,000. If it does, you can only average down so long, and averaging down is not a trading strategy. It works great in a very strong bull market where every dip is to be bought. But this market's weakening up, and the breadth looks horrible. And if Tesla, and I'm not predicting, it's still slightly in neutral mode, and it could easily rally back up here and roll over again and test this level and bounce again and go on ad infinitum. You got to trade what is happening and stop with the predictions. Now, when I'm not saying a double top, that's not a prediction, that's a probability. If that does trigger, then the probabilities have shifted distinctly. I could give my thoughts all day long what's going to happen, but that really doesn't matter, because we're here to trade and analyze a market, not predict it. And people can say, I predicted this. Well, then they could be wrong 2 days later. So I see them all the time. Learn to trade, not predict. Learn to trade probabilities. Okay? So, great price action today. Fantastic. Here were the levels. I put in the Discord. By the way, if you're not a member of Discord, you're missing out on a ton of great information. Use the links in the description below. It's what I've seen really separates the people who want to learn and grow as traders versus the people who just want to casually glance at a YouTube video. Because you can even review it end of day and still go back and see what was said, what lessons were learned, and everything else. And it just helps people grow. And we don't do hype videos on this channel. I might do some interesting thumbnails, which shout out to Ken who creates them for me. But other than that, it's not about hype. It's not about, oh, it's going to the moon, it's going to zero, it's blah, blah, blah. It's about learning to trade and analyze and invest in markets. And that's what it is at the end of the day. I think anybody who's been here for a long time knows that this is not a hype channel. This is not, I'm both bullish and bearish on, it doesn't matter the name. It doesn't matter if it's Tesla, Nvidia, Intel, crypto. You got to analyze both sides. And runs in. And Dave says missing out big time. See, Dave's in there. Dave, I think you've seen the value. As you get to see stuff on, I went through this capitulation bottom in detail as it was happening. And then what I was watching for, why I was watching for a 15-minute double versus a 5-minute double. By the way, let's just recap. Do we know this is Elon selling? No. What I said right when the market was starting today is we know he was selling yesterday. And if he had back-to-back selling days, which is pretty much his plan is always had back-to-back selling days, and we didn't have days Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we had the selling yesterday. I said, watch for selling momentum bars. Right off the bat, momentum bars. It may be Elon, it may not be. But because why do I say that? If this was just a normal day and the markets weren't getting slaughtered and momentum, high-flying stocks weren't getting slaughtered, then I'd say, it was probably just Elon. This could be a combination of both, especially with what was it down today? 6.4%. And if you look, even the NASDAQ, which was down the most, was 1.91. So Tesla got literally hammered. So I think it was a combination, but again, you have to wait for the 4 and 4 to really confirm that. All right. Let's see what does Dave have to say. I quit tuning into hype channels. They do nothing but create an echo chamber, which is counterproductive to smart trading and investing for that matter. They're just about the clicks and the views and you know what? I might not get the most clicks and views, but the whole purpose of this was to actually help people learn to trade and analyze the markets. Whether they use my strategies or somebody else's, I could care less. Learn to trade and analyze. Learn to analyze both sides. Learn, and I've seen this now in Discord. People are learning to look at multiple time frames, which I'm so happy about. You gotta stop instead of getting fixed on one time frame. People are scrolling through and it hit this on the 15-minute, it hit this on the 5-minute. This is where it is on the 4-hour. Fantastic. We've also learned, because I've told people, watch key times for the futures. Watch this. Watch. People are starting to watch the futures. Why? Even if you don't trade the futures, they can. When you get strong rallies or sell-offs in the futures, they are going to affect especially these key momentum stocks. So when you see futures roll over or blast off a base and you get momentum bars, and then you start to see your stock follow, it's really good. Okay? Email me then. And let me know your name on Discord if you have any issues. I'm under spec. My Discord handle is SPEK, short for speculator. And I know speculator in the formal spelling is spelled with a C. Before somebody gives me this comment, I go by spec because I've always spelled it SPEKULHR. Sort of a thing I've done for years. I post I post all over the Discord channels. You have to make sure you're also a member. And if you've joined, and let me know your information. Jake says real learning is greater than everything else. So just reach out to me, support at Path Trading Partners, and I'll make sure. And I'll also make sure you've joined. Don't just reach out to me if you haven't joined, because it's a $10 fee. I don't want riffraff in there. If somebody's not even willing to spend $10 and they're not even interested in learning, and I don't want people just coming in there to spam the channel, because I'll just boot you. Even if you paid, I'll boot you if you're going to turn it into some other kind of crap. But all right, so here are the key things. Again, I'm not going to recap the whole thing, but we already had these clusters identified from yesterday, this 1044 to 1041. You see just bottoming below it, but then you had momentum bars. So what do you watch for? You watch for the 5-minute return to rotation zone and roll over. Roll over 1, roll over 2. We then it went straight through this 1027 area, we had a cluster here. And then you could do the projection. I had to go, when you have major selling, I had to go down in time frame. I'll show you. Because we didn't even have a pausing bar on the 5-minute. I went to this 1025 low, which was a very nice pausing bar. And then that gave us a 1016.80 and 1008.61. Hey, 42 Lou. Let's see. Great, then you should be in. I'm in the Tesla channel all the time, in the Tesla group. You just make sure you can see. Can you see anybody post? I'm not going to turn this into a support session, by the way, for Discord. So you can see how that level held. You can see how well it held right there. No close below it. No close below it. I mean, what was the close here? If anybody's watching this, you really want to learn how to do stuff, learn harmonics. I post them all the time in here. I post them all the time for a reason. And do they work 100%? No, nothing works 100%. But do they work? Let's see some comments. Does anybody like these harmonics or not? Because I'll stop doing them, like for everybody else, if they don't like them. But these have been, when I discovered this, I mean, it gave me another great thing for trading. So coming down here, you see closing 10. What was the close? 108.70. I had 108.61. Rolling up, coming back down, no close. Now, let's see. Then I'll keep going. Oh, thank you so much, Sterling. Thank you, Sterling. Again, if anybody else wants to do super chats, you know, it just helps to go support this channel. I'm doing streams multiple places. It just helps cover the software costs. All the software just costs money, and it just offsets my costs. I like charging $10 for lifetime Discord, or well, as long as I keep it open, is minimal. It's like I'm not making money off of it. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. I'm glad you guys. These kind of donations really help. Chris uses the harmonics. Sterling harmonics are priceless. Please do not stop what I'm doing. So that's why. Now I said if we got some people joining, I'd go over why I did the 15-minute. I don't trade, as you know, but makes sense to keep them if the master finds them valuable. Well, I find them valuable, so I was just wondering if you did. The harmonics seem too good to be true when you're new, but after you learn them, they're priceless. Yep. See, it just takes time to learn them, to start learning. You practice, but once you start seeing these levels, they are priceless. So we had this harmonic here. Why I shifted to the 15-minute instead of using a 5-minute double, and I'll show you exactly why. Here it was, remember higher time frames. Key lesson to remember across the board. Yes, Dave just got it. Higher probability on the 15 versus the 5. Now, why would I want higher probability trade in this kind of market? In this kind of price action? Why would I want higher probability? That's why I draw the targets. I'm going to put them down here. Why I'd want higher probability is, A, we've just had a blistering sell-off. All right? We're in lunch, going into the lunchtime hour. Look, with the other side of the double, this was 11 o'clock Chicago time, noon Eastern time. That's lunchtime hour. And the markets are weak, not just Tesla, but the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Dow's starting to weaken more and more. Weak. So this is fighting the current. This is swimming upstream. Starting to get your head from getting ripped off. Greater reassurance of a winning trade. The higher the time frame, the greater probability is that you will hit the targets. Again, what do you think is more important? A daily double? That sounds like a gambling thing. A daily double bottom or a daily double top versus a 5-minute double bottom, 5-minute double top. Well, the daily is much more important. Just so when we go up, I've talked about separation of time frames. You want 3 to 4, so that's why we look at the 5-minute, the 15-minute, the 1 hour, the 4 hour. Then we just jump to the daily because there's no point doing like a 16-hour chart versus a daily chart. But yeah, I mean, you could look at the 12-hour, but there's at some point it's overkill. So if I get to choose between something, especially during slower time periods, I'm going to watch the 5-minute versus the 15-minute. And we're going against the key trend. And we're going against the trend of the overall market. So everything is bearish this day. If I'm going to take any kind of bullish trade, it's got to be on a higher time frame. And even when I posted this, I said it's against the 15-minute rotation zone. And when you're watching the rotation zone in the time frame you're trading. So why is it a slightly lower probability? Because if it triggers here, let's pretend it triggered here instead of not triggering. It confirmed here, but did not trigger because we looked for a close. Because it could easily close, slam into the other side of the rotation zone, and rotate back down without even getting the first target. But that was why I posted that too. Why do I want that 15-minute? Because it gives me, at least if I'm going to trade this, gives me slightly better probabilities than a 5-minute. And the best thing to do is actually, instead of trying to call a bottom, just sit on your hands. And if you are short, use something like a trigger to cover your shorts, not just a confirmation. Why do we watch for the close? Because too many people get sucked into these moves, these breaks, uh, without a close. And I'll show you something in a bit also on closing and why that's so important. And even you say, well, it ran too far in a close. Well, if it ran too far and you can't get in, you either watch for a pullback. And if you don't get a pullback, it wasn't your trade. A missed trade is a break-even trade. It wasn't your trade. You're better to miss a trade than to chase a trade. All right? Uh, let's see. I don't steal your face right off your that thing. I'm wearing my tie-dye 42. Wearing a tie-dye. And 9 mile skin on a 10-mile ride. Or we're going into dead lingo here. Don't fight the current, only leads to exhaustion and drowning. Exactly right. That's why I want a higher probability. The best thing, if you're in doubt, sit out a counter trend trade. Sit on your hands. Don't try to be a bottom picker or a top picker. Take the chunk out of the middle. Okay, you're just not actually on. I'll look for some of these are just back and forth. Now, so we never got that triggered, rolling back down. Let me show you why this harmonic is so important. Futures started breaking down here, and I was watching for a key close below here. Then to tackle my line, this 1002 line, well, essentially 1003, has been on for how long, guys? How long? It's been on since since November 17th, roughly, and we retested that line. And and watch the thousands because we had all those 1,000 puts. We finally get the close here. Look how long this harmonic held up on a closing basis. Finally got the close here. Little spike down to what was the low here? Was it exactly 1,021? And I said, watch for lots of resting orders around 1,000. And then the futures went into full on. We're not carrying shorts. It's been a big profit week for the shorts. We're not carrying through the weekend, and pretty much everything rallied into the close. And coming right back, and look at this. We had a 10-16-80 harmonic. And you know what that happened to be on the shorter term levels? Also the key volume metric, volume profile metric. So that was already, before this volume metric came up, that was already a harmonic. You can't make this stuff up. So that's how it worked right there. But this is the kind of thing that you want to, why I didn't do the 5-minute or look to the 5-minute is because it's against a very long trend. I need confirmation. And if you notice, the 5-minute just eked out and then reversed. Then that kind of price action is not good anyways. So if you did want to take a little shot, it's keeping a tight stop. That's why we wait for the higher time frame, because look, 1 hour. Start getting end of day divergences. Haven't touched the 1 hour. Let me take off these targets because they're not valid. So could we get, again, overall, we're still technically in neutral mode. We still technically haven't broken this big base. And if you look from a macro perspective, again, what does this look like? If I were to draw a line, I don't want to change my charts, but what if I were to see where my pointer is? What if I were to draw a line here and here? What does that look like? If we drew a line across here and here, it's a big horizontal channel. And we still don't have a lower low than this. So technically, could it still bounce up rather nicely? Yeah, we could still even bounce up to this 1080 level before rolling over again. This is where don't predict. There'll be people who, I think it's going to bounce next week. And people who say, I think it's going to go down. Well, what's the trade? What's the trade? I want to know what the trade is. Right now, I don't have a firm bottoming pattern. Right now, we are oversold on the 4-hour. And we could easily, if we have a strong Monday, if the markets are firm up a bit and we get a bounce in the markets and we get some strength and the selling in Elon's plan doesn't really sell on Monday again. We don't know. It was Thursday, Friday. I think it was Friday. It was definitely Thursday this week, and there's no selling pressure and the markets firm up. Could we easily return to the 4 hour rotation zone or even the 1 hour rotation zone? Easily. We could easily return to 1060 without hesitation. Because what do we have here? Just off price action, does anybody know what this is? This, I've talked about it before. This, even on the 15-minute, you see it. This is called an advanced clear path. On the 15-minute, on the 1 hour, it's a simple clear path. Where's the simple clear path targets? Well, it's the resistance and the clear path. Yeah, Sterling got it. Yeah, we had the horizontal channel from before. Very good. Sterling got that clear path move. So this trading back into this is a clear path. Why is it a clear path? You see a lot of stopping points in here. This is a great, I should be just teaching Friday. I'm just in a teaching mood. And this won't get a ton of views. It won't matter because not a lot of people out there really want to learn how to do this stuff, at least profitably. They would rather just all be in the hype, and I'm just averaging down until their account blows up. And I said this in Discord, you'll see so many people eventually get blown out by Tesla. You will see so many people. Mark my words. When we go into a clear path, we're looking for the prior breakdown levels. I'd be watching about 1070. So you're trading back in here. I would not ignore the rotation zones, but on a full clear path move, it would be 1070 and then roughly around 1080 area, at least off the 1 hour. 4 hour. Yeah. So could it easily, based off 15 minutes, be about 1060? So we'll fine tune those using the harmonics. But could we easily get a rally next week? To flip around, especially we have, see, lower low price action, higher low RSI. Yeah. What would I need to see? Well, going into Monday, guess what I'm watching? We have a little, slightly descending. We broke the horizontal channel, forming this divergence end of day. But what do we have here? Right along here. Let me just get some of my lines back on so I can draw. Right where some of these key harmonics were, I'm going to move them now. Let's see. We come all the way down. Let me move these shorter ones. Look at the, let me move some of these and we'll redraw them. So right here, nice. That's a nice, that level has some decent significance right there. Not so much in the past, not great significance on the past. I'm just double checking. 1 hour. It's not bad. See here, you have this resistance shelf right here based off the, you had a little chopping back and forth, but we got rejected there. Then this blew through it. I love when it blows through because that confirms the level. You want to see blow throughs. This got rejected and closed above it. This is the kind of price. Yeah, that's a decent level. About 1026.50. Move above 1026.50. Especially getting this 1 hour rotation zone. I'll just keep in mind the 1 hour rotation zone, but you start getting trades into there. I don't see a lot of resistance up until the, this 1063 area. I just don't. Maybe the 15-minute, we can bump that level down a bit. I'm going to bump it down a bit. This is where the multi-time frames, again, multi-time frames. Higher have more importance, but here I'm just fine-tuning it based off a little closer with this strong reversal. So this strong reversal, this is a V-shaped reversal. That is now an area of resistance. Sorry about the dogs barking. So my target longer term would be 1059, and I'd watch for the rotation zones. We got to observe the 1 hour, but the 1 hour gets out of the way. And look where the 4 hour is. The 4 hour is back at 1070. So could we either easily get to 1060? Yeah. So, that's the upside analysis. Can you fine tune the minor levels with harmonics? Well, the only harmonics I can do right now off this very short-term bottom are these. So you start getting through here. Those are little levels, minor levels. I'll start watching to see if we have reactions there. So that's my analysis, the upside for next week. I'll get to some questions. When the probabilities for be higher for more selling on the overall market, no confirmation on the higher time frames. We're going through the analysis on both sides, Ken. Right now, the daily is still technically neutral. The 4 hour, the 1 hour, uh, still are definitely in bearish mode. But could you easily now keep things in mind? We're still weekly bullish, but that doesn't mean you can't go lower. I put this in Discord too. We could, it's still weekly bullish until we close below 896. We've now closed in the weekly rotation zone. So the probabilities longer term favor testing the bottom of the weekly rotation zone. But does that mean you have to get there next week? No. Daily is still technically neutral. If we are bearish on Monday, it will roll over. 4 hour is bearish. Why I went through, if we trade up here, now this is why I'm not predicting. We already know, I want a key close above 1026.50. If I don't get that on Monday, I'm not even looking to be in bullish mode. Okay, but I'm going in preparing for the potentiality, and that's essentially my line in the sand for Monday. I'm not bullish until we get above that level. And if we gap above that level, I'll watch for a possible gap fill and to see if that level holds. And let's say we gap up beyond this stuff and we don't look back. Well, I already have my targets in place. Now, what's the bearish case? Well, the bearish case is, we start breaking back below this 103 to 1000. That's bearish case. We had that little harmonic at 1008 that's held. And I pulled it off from before, but that's in my memory now. 1008.61. Still remember it from all day today. We're below that. Start watching for this 1003 to 1000. And then below that, what do we have? Let's see what I have on. Let me do the major. I have to do the major. So this is the major harmonic. And then we'll do the most recent swing harmonic. And the most recent swing, I'm doing it from this move that started it, this most recent swing with the selling pressure. So what does that give me? So we start breaking below 1000. Now let's go out in time frame. We break below 1000. We're also below this key level. Then we've broken 1000. If we have selling pressure, especially broad market selling pressure, again with Tesla selling pressure, 988.91 is the first level. We already know 978.60 key, very key low from a potential double top, massive double top. And then look at this. We have harmonics right at 974 and 977. So look at all this. That's what I'll be keying off of for the bearish case on Monday. Now we get a close. A day. First of all, I'd be watching this on a weekly basis, this potential double top. So I'm going to be watching for if we even get below this, I still want a weekly close below that for all these targets. But a daily close will really put me in bearish mode. When things are in bearish mode, like the 4 hour and the daily, what does that mean? Does that mean I can't take bullish signals? No, it doesn't. It means I can still take bullish signals. It means to be much more aggressive with your targets. And by aggressive, I mean move them closer to your price action. Don't go insane targets. For example, let's say we have a bullish signal on Monday. Am I making a target 1187? No, not in your right mind I'm making a target 1187. Why? A, because it's a short-term trade based off of a short-term pattern. It's not a big daily pattern. It's not a daily double bottom. It's not a daily harmonic divergence reversal. It's not a daily exhaustion move. No, it's a little 15-minute or 1 hour move or even 5-minute move. Let's even say it was a 4 hour trigger. Is my target down here? No, my target on a 4 hour trigger is going to be up. My full target could be 1059. I'm going to raise stops before that using harmonics, using key harmonics levels, but my full target could be 1059 or possibly 1071 depending on price action. Why? Because if we got up to 1071, that's the declining rotation zone. It's also a prior area of significance that we've had on the charts. So that's what it means. It means I'm in bearish mode. Daily is still technically neutral, technically by a thread. I'm still but I got to keep stuff in mind. I can't take a 1 hour trade and turn it into, okay, Tesla's going to 2000. That's idiotic. That's mixing time frames. If we get a daily trade, then it's based off the daily time frames, which also keep this in mind too. If you have a daily trade, you don't want to manage it on a 5-minute time frame. You don't want to take 5-minute harmonics and keep raising your stop on a daily trade. That's idiotic also. Okay, a daily trade could trigger all the way back here. You could have a daily trade triggered back from this June time frame or July, the June time frame. Nice bottoming pattern here. Am I going to manage it on a 5-minute time frame? No, because this would stop you out. You're going to manage it on a daily time frame. And you're not going to turn a 5-minute trade into a huge daily trade. I'm not going to go, oh, I got a 5-minute double bottom. We're going to 2000 with it. That's idiotic also. Learn your time frames and manage your time frames. Manage it within one time frame higher and lower. If I get a daily trade, I can use the 4-hour and I can use the weekly for key levels and to manage the trade. If I get a 15-minute, I can use the 5-minute and 1 hour. But I'm not going to be keying off even with a 15-minute trade. I'm not going to be going, whoa, what are my daily targets? Are we going to 1200 again? No, there'll be other trades. So that's sorry I went on a little rant there. By the way, below these harmonic clusters, next key level, look at this. You can't make this up. You saw me draw the harmonics. It's not like I didn't even draw these beforehand. What's the next harmonic cluster? 950. What do we have here? Significant level, key gap open. You cut through this 974 area. Where's our target? You get a beautiful target down here. You get through there, you've heard me talk about it a million times, gap fill. Okay? So now we have our game plan for Monday. And since there are no longer term signals yet, we have to rely on the shorter term signals. Other than that, it's just guessing and saying, oh, I'm going to throw out a prediction. Well, your prediction's worth about what the paper is written on. Show me a systematic process. Show me how you're coming up with your stuff. And you got to be able to teach it. This is one of the points of this Discord, and when I release the course, and I've had course stuff before. I can teach you stuff. Have a question to the people on this live stream. Have you been able to learn something from what I've taught, like consistently, like, all right, here's the kind of levels we use when this happens. Here's how we do the harmonics. Here's how we do the doubles. You might not know every rule, but have you been able to at least reproduce some of these levels on your chart through my teaching? Answer that, because it's not willy-nilly. It's systematic. By the way, I'm not going through that 1-minute capitulation bottom stuff. That was for the people in Discord, and if it's still going to be in there. If you want to join Discord and go back and reread the chat from today, go for it. I posted charts. So let's see. So did that answer your question, Ken? Say many times that Tesla is overvalued. I understand what you're saying. I'm curious what you think would be a fair valuation price. I'm not even going to put that out there because I'll just I get so much hate stuff. It's not even worth it. And it doesn't matter what I think fundamentally. I'm going to trade the price action. I'm not fundamentally, yeah, I'm bearish. I think though the fair valuation price, I think that a lot more competition is coming in. I think Tesla's blown a golden opportunity. I think there's a very strong cultish following to it, but there's some aspects of Tesla, they haven't done themselves any favor with their service and their quality. And there's too much good stuff coming online. And eventually, I see it eroding market share. You'll still have people who only say they'll only ever buy a Tesla, da 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 da. That's why I will give it a little higher multiple, but not as still like every other car manufacturer friggin' combined. That's inane. Unless they're selling 10 million cars a year or more, then we'll talk. And I'm talking in the next couple years, and that's not happening. So now my thing's gonna light up with all people wishing me I dead because I have a fundamental. You know what? I've shown you how you can trade this bullish and bearish. It's not about being in love with a company. It's about analyzing a market. You know, there are great companies back in 2000 that, in the .com thing, there are crappy companies and great companies. And I'm not putting Tesla in either category. It's tradable, but some of those companies disappeared. Some are still around. Some of them are still tradable to this day. A hell of a lot of them, though, wiped out a lot of people that are still around. Not the people, the companies, because they were incredibly overvalued. That did not mean you couldn't trade them. You could trade them quite profitably, but you had to analyze both sides of the market and know the bullish and bearish case. Because just as this can happen, the opposite can happen, even in Tesla. So this is where I see people saying, even it was put in the Discord the other day, and somebody said, if it gets back to 900, I'm putting everything in, including all my savings. And I said, never bet your savings. Never. Never. On any stock. Okay? And it's a trade. And don't bet more than you can lose. Because any stock can wipe you out. Look, something could, and I wouldn't wish this on anybody, something terrible could happen to Elon. He could have a health issue. He could be hit by a bus. Who knows? What do you think that would do to this stock? And if you put everything all in it, even if it's a good value, did you put everything all in it? What if something happens? You know how much the stock is based off Elon? If something happened to Elon, which is something you can't control, nobody can control that. Theoretically, not even Elon, if he was like crossing the street and got hit by a bus. You know, you got to manage your risk first. So even when there's a major bottoming buy signal, let's say it came back down in the 700s on this potentially large double top. And there's a great double bottom, and it's okay. It's, back up the truck, which it's never back up the truck, by the way. It's managed according to your risk. But all right, we got a great bottoming signal against the key support, and and it's going, it's triggered, it's going up, 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 up. Something tragic happens, Boom, stops out. Then what? Oh, but I had everything in it. Well, now you have a problem because the one thing about trading is be around for the next day of trading. If you're not around for the next day of trading, you're not trading anymore. Okay? That's key. You want to be a long-term investor or trader? Invest smart so you're there for the next day. I've seen too many people, even long-term investors, they have two or three stocks. And you get your .com bust, you get your 2008 bust, and their stocks get hit 80-90%. And those are the three stocks they were in. And now their portfolio, I've seen people's portfolio go from over like $1 million to 150, 200,000. Well, you know how long it takes to recover from that? And then if you get forced liquidation, it's even worse. So, again, I went on, I'm sorry for my rant. It's just I get passionate about this, and my key thing is I just love to help people learn. Yeah, we're getting more open interest on puts than we've seen for a long time. We also have ARK. I'm just going back through some of the comments. Sorry about that. Yep, those are the harmonics with the key matches. Sterling has to get better at multiple time frames. I get too locked into shorter time frames. Just learn to flip through your every hour. At least go up to the 1 and 4 hour chart, Sterling. And I even check in on the daily just to remind myself. Sterling, every day I learn something new. All right, well, Chris, all right, you have a strategy, and that's great. So you should also look when it's moving even with your position, not necessarily to get confirmation, but to know where your key levels are. Sterling says he can draw the harmonics just like me. You know, there's some things you'll still learn. Uh, Thank you, Jake. Nobody hate Mike. Trust me, you should see what lights up when I talk anything. Even if I talk about potential short trades in Tesla, stuff just lights up. Stuff just lights up. You know, it's and that's why I know people will get destroyed at some point because it's a trade. It's an investment, fine, but if you have to defend that investment to the point you're willing to threaten other people, well then that's a risky position to be in. Markets have become on more from fundamentals, in my opinion. I have plenty of reasons, and I think they are very on more from fundamentals. I'm not talking Tesla right now. I'm talking a lot of companies, and everybody says, "Oh, value's dead, value's dead." Things go through. We've had growth stock, huge growth stock cycle, and we will at some point. Not saying this is the end. Don't know that yet, but there will be a time where value stocks rule and growth stocks are in the toilet for a while. Yeah, pandemic high flyers are back down. We tend to fall in love with certain stocks. My uncle taught me a very valuable lesson. Don't fall in love with anything that can't love you back. Yeah, and that's a very good lesson. And a stock is just a stock. A trade is just a trade. Don't get married to a position either. Don't get married to a trade. Don't get married to a position. And that's why I see, and it's not just this. Uh, I see, and I'm not just talking Tesla right now. People get married to the trade. Well, let me dollar cost average lower. Let me dollar cost average lower. Let me dollar cost average lower. And then kaboom, because they're married to the position. Instead of knowing where, okay, I'm wrong. It was a trade or even an investment. I'm wrong. Is everything no, I take losses. Our portfolio takes losses. You can't be right on everything. All right? So don't get married to anything. Boy, let's see how many people really want to learn and watch and grow. That's verse Tesla to the moon. Buy more if it dips below 1,000. Here's ARK. I know people have been averaging down on ARK. Tell me about ARK right now, which I've been so bearish on this for so long, and a lot of these high flyers are through the dumps. And now imagine if Tesla didn't have the run up, what ARK would look like. Imagine if Tesla was back in the 700s. But what are you averaging down? Buy the dip. Buy the dip. You're buying this dip? What dip blows you out? You want to know something? ARK? I mean, ARK is now trading right at the 50%, even below the 50%. It just actually came down to a very key level today, so I'm watching for a possible short-term bounce and then a rollover. But ARK, longer term, I have levels down around, the 70 to 75 area. What do you think that's going to do to people who averaged it down? I mean, at some point you run out of money, or you get the margin call, or and then what if it goes through there? What if ARK returns back down to this $50 level? What do you think that's going to do to people? Know where your stops are. Know what your trade is. Know what your risk per trade is. You know how many people are still around here to listen to me rant. Know what your risk per trade is, and don't change it. I don't care whether it's a 5-minute or a daily. Know what your risk per trade is, and if you can't sleep at night, or if your risk is way too big for your portfolio, then you're not position sizing correctly. And I'll go through something. I might save it for the course, or I might do something free on position sizing, and then I'll definitely have more in the course on it. I already have stuff on it, but position sizing is key, and not putting all your eggs in one basket or 2 or 3 baskets, and managing your position size based off your risk. Pull-ups, all right. Yeah, is that short or is they? Yeah, they were shorting. They're shorting the ARC stuff, aren't they? Pull-ups are. Yeah, and that's great advice too. Thank you for being here, Sterling. Every time I lower my stops, I lose. You know why? Because A, you come up with your stop. You should come up with your stop before you're actually in the trade. That prevents you from doing it emotionally. And then if you're wrong, you take the loss. You've already accepted before, this is a key lesson, before you ever get in a trade, accept the loss. And you know how you accept the loss? You know what your loss is because you know where your stop is. If it closes below that stop, you're out. You just lost that money, but you know what your potentially loss was before. Where people get in trouble, they lower it, they lower it, they lower it. Oh crap, my $1,000 loss turned into a $10,000 loss. Well, that's real good. How much damage did that do to your portfolio? Yeah, this is a short. I was looking into the Tuttle Capital. They're the short innovative ETF. Essentially, they're shorting everything Kathy puts on. All the junk Kathy puts on, they're shorting. Kathy should have bought this as a hedge. Kathy should just buy this EFT as a hedge. That way she can hedge herself in one spot. Sorry, that was my humor for today. I think I'll wrap this up and yeah, thanks, Dave, and let everybody get on with their weekend. And I hope you learned something here. I hope you don't mind my rants. If you know anybody who really wants to learn or invest, well, at least tell them about this channel. Tell them about the Discord. Tell them about I have old course stuff for sale, but tell them to wait for the new course stuff. Tell them if they really want to know. It doesn't mean they have to agree with everything I do, but they need to learn a mindset and a methodology and a process. Okay? Because I'm tired of all the garbage out there and all this hype stuff. It's half the reason, even on days I don't feel like doing this, because it really doesn't make me any money. It's because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of people spewing out garbage that don't even know or haven't even lived through a bear market, haven't lived through a downturn, haven't lived through a stock going down, and just hype something to the moon and think everything's hunky dory. All right. Yeah, Mark, thank you, Sterling. Market overview on Sunday afternoon, right around 3 p.m. Chicago time. I'll probably post something in the community page so please subscribe because you'll get notifications. I'll probably post earlier Sunday or even Saturday afternoon once I know the exact time, but it'll probably be right around 3 p.m. Chicago time. On Sunday, we'll do our market overview to prepare ourselves for overall market trading next week. And Dave says the Prancer priceless. Well, thank you again for the super chat. Thank you for everybody's. Please spread the word and help more people. Again, it just even to grow the community for people who want to share and grow as traders and investors. It really helps. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. At least before Sunday afternoon, enjoy some time off. Turn off your screens. Don't look at them until Sunday, and then start prepping for next week so you're not blindsided by anything. And I will talk to everyone later. Bye for now.